Hi folks. So I thought that I would show you today the binding system that I used for my swatch books, and I also use it for any PDFs that I have that I want bound into a book. So you can certainly print off your PDFs that you purchase and take them to, something like Staples here in Canada, or I think in the States you have Kinko's? I think that's a place, and have them bound there. But I live outside of a small town in the country, so I'm really far away. In fact, I think the nearest Staples to me is about 3.5 hours highway driving. So I purchased this binding system when I was homeschooling my daughter because there were a lot of things that I wanted bound into books then, and so I've had it ever since. I believe you can still buy it, and I will link below in the description where you can purchase this. It is this is the hole punch, this teal blue thing. You can see that. Oh, there's a glare. Sorry. GBC, which I believe stands for Great Binding Company, ProClick, and this is the P50. So this is sort of a home version. I believe you can also buy a hole punch that for this system, but it's big. I think it would be more for kind of like an office, and it's more expensive. This, when I bought it, now mind you, this was a lot of years ago. This was probably only about $50. I think maybe it's up to about $100 now. So it's not cheap, but I guess for my purposes, because I used it so much with homeschooling and then now with coloring, it probably has paid for itself. You buy packages of the spines, and so as far as I know, they come in 3 different sizes. And I'll see if I can show the different. So these are spines that I've already clicked closed just to be able to show you the different sizes they come in. I think it's 5/8 of an inch is the biggest, so that's this one. And then 1/2 inch and maybe 3/8 of an inch, if I had to guess. I wish they came out with a bigger spine, but I don't think they do. The spines in length are meant to bind sort of your standard American or Canadian 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. They're just slightly short of that. So you can see, I don't know if you can see, oops, down. So they're just a little bit shorter than that. And before they get clicked together, they look like this. And I'll show you just sort of end on. So it's like 2 halves of the circle. And then all you have to do is have this binding machine, or, I mean, truthfully, I guess you could even take a small hole punch, but you would have to make sure that the holes you punched, would line up with the distance between all of these, the clicky bits. So I'm going to show you what I've done here is I've printed out, this is a PDF coloring book that I purchased from Etsy, and I will put on the screen who I got it from and what it is. I think it was like a Wizard's Rooms or something like that. And I really liked it because there was all kinds of lab equipment. I am a chemistry instructor, I'm a chemistry teacher, and I just really liked all the lab equipment. See, it's a bit shiny. I printed this on marker paper, so I think this is the Hammermill 60 pound or 65 pound. Because the grayscale on this was so heavy, I wanted to try and use alcohol markers just to see what kind of effect I could get. So I think there's 20 pages in total. So I'm just going to take the first page here, and I'll put the rest of them aside. And I'll just show you how you would go about using this to punch the holes. Now, cover your ears. This might be a little bit loud, and maybe on the editing I'll see if I can take some of this out. You wouldn't want to do this when everyone is in bed, but can you hear that? So I'm going to pull it really quick down to the bottom. There we go. Sorry about that. And then you just put your sheet in, and there's actually two. You can see where this says. It's the best way to do this without a glare. Maybe I can't. Maybe not. There's two little words there. The top one says oversized, and the bottom one says standard. And you can see there's almost like two little shelves, or sort of this bottom right here. That's where the standard would go. And if you have an oversized sheet, I think they probably are thinking A4, because A4 is a little bit longer than your typical 8.5 by 11.
Future editing Connie here. Just wanted to insert, I did a little research after I had recorded this video, and I don't think A4 pages are going to fit into this punch. I think that they are too long. So that oversized little shelf is maybe meant for, I don't know, slightly bigger pages. So if you are in the UK or Australia or anywhere that has A4 size pages, this punch would work, but you would have to trim down the pages a little bit before you put them in.
You would rest it on that sort of upper shelf. But all you do is put this on a flat surface. Because this is 8.5 by 11, I'm going to put it in the standard, just on the bottom there. There's a little bit of play, I don't know if you can see that, moving top to bottom. So I like to kind of center it. Hold the paper. This is going to be loud, so cover your ears. And again, maybe in the editing, I'll see if I can turn this down a bit. I just like to then, I'm going to pull this back a bit because I have a shelf in front of me. I don't want to run into it. And then all you do is you just run this along. Are you ready? It's going to be loud. And there you go. And you get your holes punched. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off camera so you don't have to listen to that 20 times. You can do, it says on the manual, up to 5 sheets at once, but I think they mean 5 sheets of just regular copy paper. If I'm doing cardstock, particularly really smooth cardstock like this, I like to do 1 sheet at a time, because if the cardstocks, if the pieces of cardstock slide against each other when you go to push this, then your holes aren't going to be lined up, right? So I like to do the pages one at a time. So I'm going to pause the video. I will be back. It'll be a few minutes for me, but just a second for you, and I will have all 20 pages hole punched. Okay, I'm back. So all 20 of my pages have been punched with that funny looking hole punch. And now I'm going to decide which size spine I want to put on here. So again, we've got these 3 different sizes. You can also, I should say, this is an example of a spine here. It's not clicked together. I've actually cut it down so it's shorter. So if you have smaller books you want to bind, you can just, I just took a pair of scissors and took a full length spine and just cut it off. I measured, and then cut between the clicky bits as long as I needed. So I must have needed a little short bit for something else. So yeah, you can sort of customize your length of spine too. You want to have a spine big enough that the pages kind of don't, if your spine is too small, and I think maybe if anyone has ever had something that's been spiral bound and the spine is too small, it's hard to get the pages to move. So I think maybe, and when you buy these spines, they'll say on the packaging, it holds approximately so many pages. But again, I think they're talking about copy paper. So because this is cardstock, I don't think I can, it's not going to be the same. So 20 pieces of 60 or 65 pound cardstock is going to be thicker than 20 pieces of copy paper. So I think maybe the medium spine is going to be, just looking sort of, yeah, I think this small spine, I think that's going to be too small, because when I try and open up the pages flat, I'm not sure, they might get, sort of catch a bit. So I think I'm going to go for the medium spine. So I have a medium spine here. I think this is the medium one that's open. So we'll put aside these other ones here. And when you purchase the packs of spines, the small and the medium spines come in packs of 20. And unfortunately, the big spines I could only find it in a box of 100. Now, because I've had this system for years and years, I first purchased it, like I say, when I was homeschooling my daughter years ago. So, 100 spines in this box. I still have a ton more, but I am going through them. So it's kind of unfortunate that you can only buy that larger box of the bigger spines. But yeah, the medium and the small come in packs of 20. And every pack comes with this funny little tool. It says GBC ProClick Zip Tool. You don't need to use this, but I'll show you what it's for. So all you do then is sort of make sure your holes are all lined up. I put the spine down on my desk. I sort of maneuver the pages in there. And then you take this zip tool, and I sort of kind of get them all a little bit. You could just take your fingers and click all these together. So you would just go all the way up and click them together. But this zip tool, if I can, sometimes it's a little awkward. See if I can get it to work. You start at one end. Oh, might have to turn it sideways here. There we go. Sorry if that was kind of loud. And then I just go through with my fingers and make sure that they're all clicked together. And then it's spiral bound. Now, I'm not enamored of this black, because these rings can't be all individual, right? They all had to be attached. There is that black piece of plastic that runs, right? It's you can see it there. It runs all the way down. It's not terribly attractive, but I can deal with it. And then I just have a bound book. Now, it also, you can purchase separately, or if you've seen my previous video where I've talked about my swatch books, you can make your own cover. You can have, a piece of decorative paper, a coloring page that you bind and put on. You can also purchase presentation covers, because this really was meant, I think, for office use and that sort of thing. And it's just pieces of acetate. Oh, that's really glary. Sorry about that. And they're just clear. Oh, I thought I had these hole punched, so hang on. I'm just going to pause again, hole punch the covers. I'll be right back. I am back. So I hole punched my covers. Oh, super, lots of glare. Sorry about that. But I've already closed this. So if this was traditional spiral binding, I know, there are machines where you can take apart traditional spiral binding, or you can just wind it, right? If you just take the spiral binding and keep turning it, you'll eventually get it to come out of, and then you can wind it all back in. So you can undo and redo traditional spiral binding. But the neat part about this ProClick system, so I want to put these covers on front and back. So I'm going to take this same tool, and so the closure part is this bottom, and you just sort of put it on there, pinch it together. So I don't know if you can, this way, see how I would pinch it, and you would sort of pinch it and run it up, and that's what closes it. Now to open this, I could go along with my finger and pull all of these open, or you can use this part, this top part. And all you do, I'm going to turn this sideways. It's a little bit easier if I do it sideways. You take it, put it in. So I'm just taking that top part and inserting it underneath the loops, sort of between the top of the loop and the book, and then it opens it up. So now I can put the front cover on, and then I can just take my pages out. That's probably easiest. Oops. Line up the holes there. Put those. Put my back cover on. And now, see if I can get this to work any better than I did the first time. So you put this part of the tool, this the bottom part, right? This part. So you'll put it with the wider end sort of facing the direction I'm going to be sliding it this way. So the wider end is on the side that's sort of going to be going forward. The smaller end is kind of at the back. That's kind of where you pinch. So I just sort of put that on there, kind of make sure I've got a good pinch going, pull it along, It doesn't always work the first time. There. Now, you can see a few of them, I don't know if you can see that or not. A few of them didn't quite close, so I just go with my fingers. It's very satisfying to click them closed too. And then I've got myself a coloring book. I know that there's also the disc binding system, which lots of people use. It's prettier, I'll give them that. But because I had this system already from when I was homeschooling, I just didn't feel that there was a need for me to go and buy a whole new system. So I just keep using this. If you don't want to punch holes in your coloring pages, that's totally understandable too. So then there's those traditional bindings that you would buy like for report covers when you were in school. So there's usually, it's like a clear folder and then like just a little spine of plastic that you just kind of would slide over the edge and would just hold them. And I mean, you can change orders of things with that too, right? You just pull the plastic off, switch your pages around, put that plastic back on. You can buy those clear plastic sort of sleeves, those envelopes, and then they just go in a binder and you can put your pages in that too, and then you can just take them out. So there's all kinds of different ways that you can put PDFs together or, you know, anything else you want to have in a book form. Just bind them together. But like I say, this was something that I've had for a number of years now and hadn't really seen anybody else using, so I thought I would give it a little demo. So I'm excited to start coloring. Oh, and I did look this up when I was off hole punching the rest of those pages. This is the Wizard's Lab sort of coloring book, and it's by ZenDoodles. Oh, hang on, just gonna check here. ZenDoodlesStore on Etsy. And I can do a quick flip through in a different video if anyone is interested. Just let me know down in the comments below. But yeah, it's fairly heavy grayscale, but again, it's a lab, so I thought I would get it and do some alcohol marker work with the really heavy grayscale. The shading is kind of done for you, which is good. And yeah, that's it. So I hope everyone is staying safe, I hope you're well, and I hope you're enjoying your coloring. See you next time. Bye!